Everyone, welcome to episode 7 of our Veridian podcast. Lucky number 7. Today, we have a toxin talk for you in 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our toxic culture today, and I guess I'm representing masculine toxicity or toxic masculinity or something like that. So yeah, so you guys have heard in the news lately, like this is really kind of putting a spotlight on why what we're doing at Veridian is really so special and unique. A couple of weeks ago, it made global news what's happening in East Palestine, right, in Ohio, where this train load of vinyl chloride wrecked and was exploded, and they put it up into the atmosphere, and really just kind of highlighted like what that is. But so we look at that and say, wait a minute. What was it caused by? The brake system? Was it caused by the transportation system? Was it caused by the Trump rules? Was it caused by the Biden rules? Who's responsible? And the problem here is it's not what happened with the train. It's the fact that they were transporting this toxic chemical. And we're here to talk to you today about what are we using that stuff for, and how are we avoiding using that stuff in at Veridian.
And we've gotten tons and tons of questions over the past year, like what exactly is going to go into my new home? And Matt and I have been working for about a year to try to identify these products that don't have these toxins, that are healthy. We want to make sure that the products going into the homes, are sustainable, like meet really strict requirements, because we don't, it's part of our company ethos. Like, we're giving you the best stuff. We're not giving you the cancer package as an upgrade.
Right. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, do you want the cancer-free package? Then you're going to have to buy one of the luxury homes, right. And everybody else gets some sort of toxic package. So I'm going to share a couple of things with y'all because this is pretty serious stuff, right? So this is what happened in East Palestine a few weeks ago, right? It's pretty shocking. There's right now across the nation, across the world, really, there's this epidemic where we have rising cancer rates. Even though breast cancer is being caused more, there's people still getting breast cancer. There's younger and younger people dying of colon cancer. There's respiratory illnesses. There's all kinds of things going on. And the poorer you are, the nearer you are to places where that transport chemicals or produce chemicals, the more likely you are. So this is a huge equity issue. So what do we use vinyl chloride for? This is the plume of smoke that went up in the atmosphere there, killing pets, fish, birds, all dying in this area from this highly, highly toxic chemical. And the problem isn't the trains, it's how we're using it. This is PVC pipe. If we put PVC pipe into Veridian, then we are partially responsible for the people who are transporting that vinyl chloride. So we're looking at alternative materials that are Red-list free, like ABS. It's still a plastic, but it's a more stable plastic, and it's far, far more benign, less toxic. And we're using these in our waste pipes instead. And a few months ago here in the Huron River, 10,000 gallons of hexavalent chromium. That's the chemical that was from the Erin Brockovich movies, right? That you heard about. And I don't remember how many years ago that was, but we're still talking about this stuff and it's still perfectly legal. So 10,000 gallons was put into the Huron River, really threatening Ann Arbor's water supply. And literally you go down to the river now and there's signs saying, do not eat the fish, not for just from this, but from things like PFAS as well. So we looked and said, well, what is hexavalent chromium being used for? Well, that's in the chrome plating process. So we talked with Kohler about their manufacturing process, and they're actually trying to wean themselves away from using hexavalent chromium. But in the meantime, you can have any color you want. Tell them, Sara.
As long as it's matte black.
As long as it's matte.
They do not use hexavalent chromium. They use a powder coating process. So these are the specifics and the levels that we're getting to when we're vetting the products that are going into these homes. Yeah.
And we swore we were going to try to keep this down to 5 minutes, and there's no way we're possibly going to do that. But then it seems like
we never do.
And it's like, this is what's happening. Testicular cancer, lower birth weights, obesity, all tied to this chemical PFAS. And it's used in building materials, super, super common. 95% of the tile sealants that you go down to your big box store to buy are going to contain some sort of PFAS. It's in clothing material. It's in period underwear, right? It's got this great waterproof property. So in camping equipment, in rain jackets, in sealants for your countertops. They're putting PFAS in there. And just recently, the Ecology Center here in town tested fish samples from the Huron River and from the River Rouge, and they found this stuff in every single fish sample that they took. So we're not using anything that's going to require these type of sealants, and where we do need sealants, we're not going to use any of the toxic sealants. So we're looking at a couple of products. We're finalizing this soon, and we're going to share them with you. This is a product called Dectin. It's a manufactured stone, so it's like a porcelain-like material, but far more durable and less fragile than that is. Doesn't require any sealant whatsoever. We're looking at, and they're also a climate neutral product. They are sourcing everything with solar energy. They got one of the biggest solar farms. This is from Fire Clay Tile. We can't wait to share some of this with you. So any of the tile that we use will be from Fire Clay. It's American made, it's climate neutral, it's non-toxic, it's made from recycled materials. They treat their employees well. So all these things we're being super, super specific about, and really cool stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and let's just wrap it up. What else, Sarah? What do we got?
Oh, do you want to tell folks about the precautionary principle? Because I think this is a really important part of sort of why we're doing things the way that we're doing them.
Yeah, yeah. In Europe, a lot of these stuff, like they do chrome plating in Europe, they don't use hexavalent chromium. And the reason for that is they have a really different standard of manufacturing there. And it's called the precautionary principle, which actually started in the United States. And until more recently, when legislators started really backing away from some of those principles and making legislators prove that something was toxic, rather than the other way around, that if the scientific community is saying, hey, we have a lot of evidence that this is really bad. Well, in Europe, they use the precautionary principle, which means until a manufacturer can prove that their product is safe, you may not use it. So here in the US, we're still using hexavalent chromium. There's still hexavalent chromium going in the river. We're still using vinyl chloride. We're still using a list of what's called the Living Building Challenge has a red list, and it's comprised of about just over a dozen or so different compounds that are highly toxic, worst in their class, and we're making sure we're not using any of that stuff at Veridian. So it's pretty damn cool.
We'll link to the show notes. And one thing I do want to mention, you probably have PVC pipe in your home now. You might have chrome fixtures. This stuff doesn't hurt you in your house.
Yeah.
It's the process of making them that is of concern. So if you have this stuff, like you're okay, but we want to make sure that we're not contributing to, future environmental crises. Veridian is going to be incredibly healthy. We're doing this for the benefit of our residents, but also the benefit of the planet.
Of the planet and the people who live near these manufacturing facilities. And you know, if there's an area called Cancer Alley, maybe you shouldn't be buying products from those manufacturers. And that is true. Places like in Louisiana and Texas that are manufacturing a lot of this stuff, they have extraordinarily high rates of cancer, some of the highest in the country. And we don't want to be contributing to that. And guys, we're not being perfect. This is not going to be perfect. I will tell you, we have some PVC pipe, our sewer pipes for PVC, and that sucks. And we want to do an alternative to that next time. But that's what we were required to use. And it was hard to source. So we're really going out of our way to make sure that when inside the houses that we're spending that extra time. As Sarah said, we've been working on this for over a year and we're still not totally there yet. It's one of the hardest things that we can do, but we want to make sure that we're getting a model for sustainability and health for you guys.
All right, we're close to 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, something like that. 5:20.
This is important. This is important. Hopefully, people get it. I'll link the red list in case people are curious in the show notes. But yeah, thanks, guys. We'll bring another hard-hitting topic next week.
Yes. See y'all.
Bye.